What's up everybody, my name is KSaun and welcome back to another Pokemon Draft League video. Today is going to be week number 5 of Season 10 of the IBL, and the Oregon Golducks are going to be going up against the Las Vegas Rotoms. Now last week in week number 4, the Oregon Golducks unfortunately took a loss against the Bermuda Kecleons coached by Nova. It was a really tight game, but we ended up losing 3-0. However, even with that loss, we are currently sitting in 4th place out of 12. If you can believe it, even with a 2-2 record, we are in 4th place. That is because we have the best differential in the league amongst 2-2 teams. So we are still sitting pretty good in the standings, but we need to try and get another win this week to keep that pace up. It's going to be a difficult one though, as we are facing off against none other than Rose, who is the commissioner of the league. Now, if you're going to look over to the right side here, you are going to see his team, and you're going to see an 0-4 record. This does not tell the whole story though. Rose is a phenomenal player, and honestly I've seen him in other leagues put in a ton of work, so I am not going to underestimate him whatsoever. The other thing about this is that he may be 0-4, but he recently made some changes to his roster that I think are really beneficial for him, and honestly compared to the team that he started with in the season, I think this could really put in some work. A couple of the big changes that he did make to the roster recently are adding the Politoed, who has the Drizzle ability, which can set rain immediately when he gets on the field, and adding the Archaludon. And if you've seen my PUDL league, you know that Archaludon is an absolute monster, especially in the rain. But the other problem we have to worry about if he sets up that rain is the Overquill on the other side. The Overquill typically does run Intimidate, however, if he sets up the rain, he can run the Swift Swim ability on it, and it also gets Terra Water, which means in the rain, Terra Water liquidations from Overquill can absolutely destroy my team. Paired alongside the fact that he added the Enamorous Incarnate to the roster, which was a mon that we originally had on the team at the beginning of the season, he has a lot of scary threats. He has Terrapagos, who can be insanely bulky, especially when he is at full health. It can do a ton of damage. It has access to Rapid Spin and really good setup moves. He has the Great Tusk, which can also Rapid Spin and set up hazards, along with the fact that it is insanely physically bulky and can break my team quite easily, and ultimately has 2 other good Terra Captains aside from the Overquill with Articuno Galarian and Flapple. The Rotomo is always something you have to respect, and honestly the Azelf on the other side could also put in some work. This team may not have a win yet, but honestly the roster is really solid, so my preparation is going to have to be top tier this week to get a win. I said last week that I was going to make a promise. I can't promise that I will go and never lose another game, but I can promise that I won't lose another game because of not having the information. This week I put in a lot of work in terms of prep and making sure I understand the entirety of his team, and I'm hoping it pays off. But in order to face Rose this week, we are starting off with our designated lead, Zoroark Hisuian, aka Guesswork. We left this guy on the bench last week, and honestly I kind of regretted it. I really enjoy having Zoroark on the team. He is a really fast, hard hitter, and honestly just adding that extra bit of thinking for the opponent can really go a long way. Obviously rocking that unique ability in Illusion, but we are running the item Focus Sash because we are running it as a lead this week. The EV investment is 252 into special attack, 224 into speed with a timid nature, which allows us to outspeed everything on his team unless they have a boost, and 32 EV that is left over into the HP stat. The 4 moves that we are running this week are Shadow Ball, Hyper Voice, U-Turn, and Nasty Plot. Shadow Ball and Hyper Voice essentially are good enough coverage into his entire team. U-Turn is obviously here for momentum to switch into something else, and Nasty Plot can be really nice to boost our special attack by 2 stages. It has great synergy with the Focus Sash as a leadoff, because even if we do get hit on turn 1, if we click Nasty Plot, we will have a +2 special attack boost and we'll hit something really hard before we die. Because this is our designated lead, I'm going to lead him no matter what. I actually created a notepad for this week and basically planned out what move I would use depending on what Pokemon he ends up leading. So on turn 1, I don't have to do any thinking. I can take any time that I want to basically make notes about what Pokemon are on the other side or anything like that, and I don't have to think really at least until turn 2. I've done all the thinking ahead of time, and so basically regardless of what he brings, I know what I need to click on turn 1. The second Pokemon we are bringing this week is Kayuma the Duck, aka Quackleval, and it is running obviously Moxie as we normally do, but it is running the item Expert Belt this week. This is an item that I I have not run yet before, but I think that is a pretty good option into his team. Expert Belt makes it so that all of your moves receive a 1.2 times power boost if they are super effective into the enemy Pokemon. With water, fighting, and ice coverage with Aqua Step, Close Combat, and an Ice Spinner, I actually have a move that can hit super effectively into almost his entire roster. So in this situation, Expert Belt really should pay a lot of dividends. With an Adamant Nature, 252 investment into the attack, and 144 into speed, leaving us at a 242 speed stat, we are fast enough that after one single Aqua Step, we will outspeed the entire enemy team if they are not boosted. 112 EVs in HP might allow us to take an extra hit or two, and ultimately, I think Kayuma can put in some work. The Expert Belt also gives us just enough damage boost to hit those exact thresholds that I need to cover, especially the close combat into the Archaludon. Ultimately, the last thing about this Quaquaval, though, is because of the typing, this is what we are going to disguise our Zoroark as. So it is going to look like we are bringing Kayuma out on turn 1. With that notepad that I described earlier, essentially saying that I have a specific move that I'm going to click on Zoroark every single time on turn 1, that is combined with the fact on what I think he will do on the other side, seeing this Kayuma out in front. The third Pokemon we are bringing this week, though, is something I'm really excited for, and it is essentially here to completely wall the Great Tusk on the other side, who I expect to show up in this battle. It is Uxie, aka McCrane, putting in their debut for the first time. Now, Uxie is normally known as a defensive Pokemon. However, we are going to invest into some of its lower stats, which are its speed and special attack this week. We're running 192 into speed with a timid nature and 252 into special attack. 64 EVs into HP, and with this EV spread, this means that we will outspeed everything Great Tusk and below. So anything with that 95 or higher speed stat, we will not outspeed, but for the most part, we will be faster than most of the threats on the other team, and most importantly, we will be faster than that Great Tusk. Like I said, this is what this thing is here for. It has the ability Levitate, which can really do well in a Great Tusk, because if he uses a ground type move, we avoid it completely. It is a psychic type, so it resists the fighting type stab coverage that Great Tusk normally has. If Great Tusk wants to go for something like an Ice Spinner, we will shake that damage off like it's basically nothing, and if it wants to go for knockoff, well, not so fast, because we have the weakness policy item on our side, which means we will double our special attack stat if he hits us with a knockoff. Combined with this moveset in Reflect, which mitigates physical damage from the other side, making us wall that Great Tusk even harder than before. Calm Mind in order to increase our special defense and special attack, Draining Kiss to hit a bunch of Pokemon on the other side super effectively and to heal HP back, and ultimately the move Stored Power. I think this thing can go crazy. Stored Power can be really effective in this set because of the weakness policy. I've explained this in one other video before, but if you don't remember, Stored Power is normally 20 base power at its root. However, for every single stat boost, and it doesn't matter what kind of stat boost it is, it gains another 20 base power. Because the weakness policy gives you 2 stages of both attack and special attack boost, that's essentially 4 upgrades, which means if weakness policy gets procced, Stored Power is now 100 base power, which is very strong. Combine that with one single Calm Mind, in essentially one turn, we can be at a point where we have a +3 special attack boost with a 140 base power Stored Power. If we are reaching those thresholds, this Uxie is going to absolutely clean his team. The next Pokemon that we are bringing this week is our Iron Treads, aka Machin X or Machine X, and this week we are running a max HP, max defense EV spread with a defense boosting nature. This is essentially as physically bulky as you could possibly get this thing, and this thing is basically made to prevent the physical sweepers or physical setup mons on the other side from putting in work aside from the Great Tusk. Again, Uxie is here to beat that Great Tusk, but for any of the other physical attackers, Iron Treads is here. It is rocking the item Rocky Helmet, which means any time that a Pokemon on the other side makes a physical contact move, which a lot of physical hits are, they will lose 1/6 of their HP just for hitting the Iron Tread. So even if they're doing damage to us, we should hopefully soak it well and they will take chip back. If we are in the rain, even with a Liquidation super effective hit from the Overquill, we will actually live that attack, hit it with the Rocky Helmet chip, and Oko it with the Earthquake. So ultimately, even though he has that kind of elemental advantage there, we can actually put in some work here if he tries to set up that Overquill. If he does end up going Terra Water, we're not going to be able to knock it out in one hit with the Earthquake, but we should do a lot of damage back regardless, where something else can essentially take that out very quick. We also have Rapid Spin, Stealth, Rock, and Ice Spinner here this week. Ice Spinner is here because truthfully, Rose's team is insanely weak to ice type damage. Unfortunately for our roster, we don't have any ice type Pokemon on it, or else I would have ran an ice type because I think offensively it's crazy into his team, but overall Ice Spinner can be a good neutral hit if I don't know what he's going to switch in. I can just click Ice Spinner and pretty freely get some decent damage down. Obviously the rocks are always good to have for that hazard chip, and Rapid Spin is here to speed ourselves up and to get rid of the hazards that he wants to set up on the other side. 2 Mons remaining, and I will say guys, this set right here, it's kind of evil, and it's one of the ones I'm most proud of ever making here. We're bringing the 2-point Swalot, aka Harkos. Last week, after getting absolutely clapped by that Crocolore that Nova brought as a 2-point Mon, I decided to join the train, and I said, you know what, I'm going to bring my own 2-point Mon, and I'm going to try and put in some work with it. This set is kind of wild though, so bear with me. First of all, we have the ability Sticky Hold. Essentially what Sticky Hold does is it means that anytime somebody does something that would normally get rid of our item or switch it with the opposing Pokemon, it does not work. Basically, for any reason, we cannot lose our item. The item that we are running this week is called Black Sludge. If you're a poison Pokemon, Black Sludge is essentially the exact same item as Leftovers, which means you recover 1/16 of your HP bar every single turn. Normally, people run Black Sludge on a poison type Pokemon instead of Leftovers because if for any reason that the opposing Pokemon switches items with them, that opposing Pokemon would end up getting the Black Sludge instead of a Leftovers. And if you are not a poison type, Black Sludge actually takes away 1/16 of your HP bar instead. Actually, it might even be 1/8, I'm not sure. But the reason I'm still running Black Sludge this week is because when we get that recovery, it will say what the recovery is from. It will say Black Sludge instead of Leftovers. Because of this, with Swalot having 3 plausible abilities that it can run, I don't want Rose on the other side to necessarily know what ability we are running. If I'm running Black Sludge, he might think that we're not running Sticky Hold, he might try and go for a knockoff, and ultimately he will get denied if that happens. For the EV investment this week, we are running a nature that boosts our special defense, and we are running 252 into physical defense and special defense, along with 4 into speed. Now this seems like a weird EV investment, and let me break down what exactly is going on here. Most of the time when you are going to do a defensive EV spread, you're going to put points into HP because it not only covers physical, but it also covers the special defensive side. However, in this situation, I'm doing this because I actually don't want my HP bar to be too high. And the reason for this is one of the moves we are running, which is Pain Split. Pain Split is a very weird move. Essentially what it does is when you use it against an opposing Pokemon, it takes your current HP and their current HP. It takes those numbers, adds them together, and then averages them out. And whatever that average is, your Pokemon and the opposing Pokemon will end up with that HP bar. What this essentially means is that if we are low on HP, let's say that we have 100 HP left over out of our total 341, and he has a fully healthy Archaludon on the other side with like 360 HP. If we click Pain Split, it's going to take the 100 and the 360, add them together into 460. It will divide by 2 into 230. And now all of a sudden, we have 230 HP and so does he. This essentially would have healed us 130 points and did 130 points of damage to the other side. This can be insanely useful, especially if we are able to get really bulky on this Pokemon, and that is the other part of the set that I'm trying to do. One of the other moves that we are running this week is the move Stockpile. Essentially what Stockpile does is it raises your physical and special defense stage by 1, especially with the fact that they are boosted all the way up to 265 and 291. That +1 stage essentially increases it by even more than it would if I didn't have max investment. You can use Stockpile up to 3 times. Once you hit Stockpile 3, it no longer can boost your stats any further. But if we are at a +3 defense and +3 special defense stat, it is going to be really hard to take us down. To truly take advantage of that Stockpile, however, we are using the move Body Press. Body Press does damage based off your defensive stat rather than your offensive stat. And now you can see with a +2 defense boost, we're going to be right around 530 defense, and this Body Press Enamorus is going to hit like a truck. There are very few Pokemon on the other team that can resist the fighting type damage. One of them, however, is the Enamorus. And this is the beauty of the set. The fact is, Enamorus on the other side is a fairy type Pokemon. Naturally, because we are poison type, we resist its fairy type damage. Now, Enamoruses normally do run the move Earth Power. However, with this massive special defense stat that we have, we can actually soak in Earth Power really, really well. We take that damage, we're going to click Stockpile to increase our defenses even more. He will very likely go for another Earth Power, and we can get to a point where we're going to get fairly low on health, but our defensive stats are going to be high. This is when we are going to be able to click Pain Split, heal a bunch of health back, and now all of a sudden he is in a sticky situation because he really can't hurt us and we are healing back. One of the biggest problems that this set can run into is a Pokemon on the other side who is actually doing something similar to what we're doing, is essentially setting up in our face. If there's something on the other side who wants to click Swords Dance or Iron Defense or Calm Mind or something like that, that is where the fourth move comes in, and that is Clear Smog. Now this is a poison type move, which means into Enamorus, even though it's not a hard hitting move, it will do a decent amount of damage. But the main benefit of this move is that Clear Smog gets rid of all stat gains on the opposing Pokemon. So if something like the Flapple on the other side is trying to go for a Dragon Dance, if we click Clear Smog, its Dragon stat upgrades that it just got now go away. We are going to slowly chip it down with Body Press and Clear Smog. And this Pokemon is essentially set up that if we get up to Stockpile 3, there is a very real chance that he cannot get rid of this Pokemon, and it just kind of wipes the floor with this team. This set is honestly kind of wild. It's either going to blow up in my face or it's going to work extremely well, and I am really excited to see which one it's going to be. Last but not least, though, is my insurance policy and ultimately my big win con here, and this is the Terra Normal Choice Specs Noivern, aka Kells, and this thing is basically here to spam Boom Burst as much as I possibly can. It has 192 speed investment, making it faster than everything on the other team, 252 into special attack, and 64 into the HP stat. Now, the nature is wrong on the screen, I do apologize. It is a timid nature to make sure that we outspeed the entire enemy team. Even though we are running 4 moves this week with Boom Burst, Draco Meteor, Defog, and U-Turn, I think it's very likely that Boom Burst might be the only move we click. The only real Pokemon on the other side who can resist a Boom Burst well is the Archaludon on the other side, and for that Pokemon specifically, we have the Draco Meteor. I am not exaggerating when I say this, that Kells with Terra Normal Boom Burst goes absolutely wild into the other team. Most of the Pokemon on the other side are taking somewhere between 70% of their HP bar and 100+% of their HP bar. Really, the only thing that can take a Terra Normal Choice Specs Boom Burst well is Archaludon, especially if it is Assault Vest. If I can ship Pokemon down on the other side, I very likely can bring Noivern in and literally spam this one move into victory. So there you have it, guys. These are the 6 mons that we are bringing this week. We are not bringing Dragapult, which feels very, very weird to me as it was our #1 pick and a huge point getter, but I'm trying to see if we can pull off some good stuff without the biggest mon on our teams. We'll see if we can pull it off, guys. Let's jump into the battle. All right, guys, we are about to load into the battle against Rose and the Las Vegas Rotoms. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Rose before this battle. The commissioner of the league, really cool guy. Huge thank you to him for allowing me to be part of this league. It's been a ton of fun so far, and I'm really hoping to put in some work this week. I'm hoping him and I have a good battle. So he does not bring the Politoed. This makes me incredibly happy. Honestly, the #1 Pokemon on his team that I was most concerned about was a Swift Swim Overqwil. He does have the Overqwil, but the fact that he didn't bring Politoed tells me it's probably Intimidate, which is totally fine for me. I'd much rather deal with the Intimidate Overqwil than the Swift Swim. So if he doesn't have that, we're cooking, I think. So we're obviously going to lead Guesswork. That is the plan. All right, so I got Quackaball in the 6th slot, so we are going to be hitting as that. And then basically top to bottom, I've got my little notepad here basically to tell me what I want to do with the Zoroark on turn 1. I think he's probably going to lead either Archaludon or Great Tusk. Those are 2 hazard leads. He could, if he's running a Enamorus first, it's probably Choice Scarf, because I don't think he would lead it unless it was Scarfed, because I could have Mons faster than it. I don't think he would lead Flapple. Okay, Grand Fampus. So we got Great Tusk lead, and he's going to see Quackaball. So this was part of the plan, and this is why I want to disguise as Quackaball. Okay, so I'm going to click Nasty Plot here. My thought is that he probably switches out, seeing the Quackaball, If he hits me with something, no big deal. I have a focus sash and I can hit really hard on turn 2 after a +2 special attack boost. But because we're showing Quackleval, I think he switches out. I think he probably switches out. Let's go, dude. +2 boost on turn 1. Our Zoroark is going to be +2. So he's going to realize right away that we're Zoroark, obviously, because I don't think you're going to go nasty plot on a Quackleval being a physical attacker. This is perfect, though. He switches in the Intimidate because he wants to prevent the physical attacker. But we are not a physical attacking mon. And now here we just click Hyper Voice. So there's nothing really here to think about. Shadow Ball does basically nothing to this guy because he's dark and he resists it. But Hyper Voice should do a lot of damage. And that is a one-hit KO, dude. Let's go. Zoroark popping off already. Our Focus Sash is still intact. We're +2. And we are cooking. Oh, baby. Let's go. I honestly almost led something else this week. Before I decided on Zoroark as my designated lead. I was originally going to make Yuxi my designated lead, but I switched it yesterday, and I'm really happy I did that. Honestly, I felt like I could design a lead with the Quackleval being shown where Zoroark could put in work pretty much regardless of what he brings, and I'm hoping. With the Focus Sash, he really doesn't have a bunch of multi-hit moves, so we should at least get 2 more attacks off at +2. So I don't think we can like sweep the team or anything here, but we should be able to put in a good chunk of work. He goes MRTC. Oh my god, I gotta message him. Dude, that is so funny. This is 2 weeks in a row. Nova named last year Ram 9 and he named his Archaladon MRDC. I think I click Hyper Voice here. Or no, I click Shadow Ball here, sorry. I want to click Shadow Ball here. He probably goes Terapagos on a switch. No, he doesn't. Okay, perfect. So we do a good chunk of damage here. That is not Assault Vest. That is not Assault Vest. That's good. And we knock out on the next hit. We should... I mean, we have Focus Sash, so it doesn't matter how much this does. Obviously, the illusion is here, but we already knew this. And now the question is, does a Hyper Voice kill from this range? Okay, he's leftovers. Oh, that's really close. I don't think a Hyper Voice kills. It's probably a roll for Hyper Voice to kill. I'm just going to click Shadow Ball. He could switch into Terapagos here, but I kind of don't care if he does, because we'll outspeed it no matter what, and we'll be able to click Hyper Voice next turn if he does. And if he gives me this thing, then perfect. If he gives me this thing, then this feels like game over. MRDC is a beast. I can't believe he named an MRDC. That's so funny. 2 weeks in a row with people like watching my vids. So I don't think I even talked about this in the preview, but basically Terapagos, one of the big issues with him is he has this ability Terra Shell. He does switch. Okay, this is going to be the Terapagos. He saw the Shadow Ball. He's going to switch into it. Yep, okay. So you're going to see this. So Terra Shift comes out. Basically, so our Shadow Ball is going to do nothing because this guy is normal type. But basically what his ability does is when he's at 100% HP, any attack he takes is not very effective. So now we're just going to click Hyper Voice here. There's no point in you turning out into something else. We would lose our +2 boost. And this won't deal a ton of damage. It should deal a decent chunk, honestly, at +2. But it'll get rid of that ability, which means basically anything else we hit this thing with again is going to die, which is fantastic. This guy can't rapid spin. So there's the Terra Shell. We're going to deal so much damage here. Okay, not that much. You can see though, if it was not very effective, it would have done a good chunk. I could have made a read on the turn before with the Hyper Voice into Archaladon, but honestly, I don't think I needed to. Zoroark honestly put so much pressure on already. Archaladon's low, and now I think I can just go Harkos here. Harkos is essentially here to wall any special attacker, which is what this Terapagos should be, and we can easily just like stockpile and kill back with a body press. If this thing tries to set up, we can go Clear Smog, because this thing does get like Rock Polish, it gets like Meteor Beam and stuff like that. So we go Harkos, Swalot's coming out, and now I think I just click Stockpile. Terra Starstorm should not do anything crazy, and even if he has Earth Power, we should take that hit like a champ. So we should be able to stockpile for free here. And if he tries to set up, then we'll just Clear Smog on the next turn. Or Body Press. Honestly, Body Press should kill. Terra Starstorm. That actually did a good chunk of damage, but we get +1 now. So it did 150 on the first hit. So now we're going to be +1 defense, +1 special defense. We'll get Black Sludge Recovery. So 193 from 341. Does that tell me anything about this guy? So looking at how much damage this did, unless I'm calculating wrong, this thing looks like it might be a weird item like Silk Scarf or something. It's not enough damage to be choice specs, and it's not Life Orb because it didn't take chip. But based on that damage, there's no reason that I can't stockpile a second time here. If I get real low, I can pain split. Otherwise, I can always body press as well. But I should be able to just stockpile a second time here. This thing really can't get through me. So it goes for Earth Power this time. Okay, that's fine. It does less than 100, even with a super effective hit. Stockpile again. So we should be stockpile 2. Now the question is, how greedy do I want to get? I don't think I can afford to stockpile a third time. I think this is where I pain split here. How much HP am I at? 137. Earth Power did 100. I'm not going to get greedy here, because if he crits, we're in big trouble. And if I go for a third one, it's going to be really close whether we live it. So I'm just going to pain split here. He should hit me one more time, I think. He does. Earth Power, which is great. Puts us at 59, so we're going to pain split. So we are going to steal some health back. And we're back up to 152 here and did some damage to him. Now we're going to recover from the Black Sludge. So we're back up to 173, baby. Swalot putting in work, and we're +2. Now we body press. This should kill. He's going to Earth Power again. And again, that only does like 80 damage. Oh, God, I kind of love this set, man. Body press is going to take a KO. Swalot's on the board. Oh, this is so awesome. I honestly, this set made me so happy. When I was cooking this week, I got really excited about using this. I'm so glad that it actually took a kill. Honestly, I don't know what he brings in on this. He might have some trouble getting rid of this guy. I'm curious to see what he goes for. Enamorous Choice Specs Earth Power, I don't think kills here. If he's Modest Choice Specs Earth Power with Enamorous, he could high roll and maybe kill. So he should go Great Tusk here with the Earthquake or the Headlong Rush. That would kill us. Even at +2, that would still kill us. So he does bring it out. This took him a long time to decide, though. I'm not sure why it took him so long. I don't think there's any decision to make here. As much as I want to try and run shit with this guy, I just pain split and pray he goes for a different move. He goes for a ground move, then we die, which he probably will. But he could predict a switch, and maybe he makes a hard read. If he makes a hard read into something else, then we... Oh my God, he went for knockoff. Dude, does he... I wonder if this guy has a ground move. I wonder if he didn't bring a ground move. We pain split a ton of HP back. Because he took a really long time to bring this thing in. If he had a... He's faster. If he had a ground move, he knows it kills. I think he would have just brought it in right away. That might have been a hard read, but he might not literally have a ground move. I think it is body press here, right? We'll see what he goes for here. If he doesn't click a ground move here, then I just don't think he has one. If he doesn't have a ground move here, we might literally sweep with Swalot. How does he get rid of this thing? We're +2 physical and special defense. He goes for close combat. This guy doesn't have a ground move. Wow, that shocks me. I can't believe he didn't bring a ground move. I think that's what's happening. Unless he's making just a ton of hard reads, but that would be really weird. Body press is going to deal a ton of damage. I think we can go for a third stockpile here, right? Why don't I go for a third stockpile here? If this guy had a ground move, he would have showed it to me already. Body press kills. I'm not going to get greedy. He goes for rocks. Okay. Fair play. So he has Stealth Rock, Close Combat, Knockoff, maybe Ice Spinner. If he had a ground move, he would have went for it. Wow. That's honestly kind of lucky. Swalot probably only should have gotten one kill here. He should have been able to come in with like an Earthquake and just knocked us out. But if he does that, we bring in Yuxi, and Yuxi just sets up on that thing and just like wins. So honestly, it might be a blessing in disguise for him, but I don't know how he deals with this Swalot. He has Enamorous, he has Archaladon, and he has Flapple left. So he brings in Enamorous. I think I could stockpile a third time for free here, but the only way that I could lose this is if he's not contrary and sets up with Calm Mind. So I think I'm just going to clear Smog. He goes for Healing Wish. Oh my God, he just knocks out his own Enamorous right out of the gate. I don't know if Swalot gets a kill for that. I don't know if Swalot gets a kill for this, but this Swalot is just like putting in work. This is going so much better than I ever hoped that Swalot could do. This is so funny. I hope Rose isn't mad about this set. I hope he thinks this set is cool and isn't mad about it. I feel bad if this is unfun to play against. Because it's a 2-point Pokemon, I feel like it's more cool. The Healing Wish goes off. Okay, that's a good play by him because this actually fully heals the Archaladon. I think we still win though. Now, do I stockpile a third time? Do I body press? I'm gonna body press. He goes for Iron Defense. Okay, so we're both +2 defense now. But he is not... He is leftovers, I think. I think he showed that before. Now he's +3. The one thing going for us is that we resist body press, and he takes it super effectively. But if he gets to +6 defense, we might not be able to break through with body press. This could get pretty painful. This might take a really long time. I only have 12 body presses left, too. I think I have to stockpile to get to +3. Yeah, that's the play. He goes for Dragon Pulse. That should not do much. Yeah, we take 50 at +2, which means at +3 we're going to be taking basically nothing. So stockpile is going to boost our defense again. We're both going to get basically leftovers recovery. And I think this part of the fight is now probably going to take about 8 years, because he's going to try and just boost up with Iron Defense up to +6, is my guess. We can't go past +3. But I'm curious to see if he can even body press. And if he does, it really doesn't matter. I think even if he gets to +6, we win this on the long term. I think Pain Split would do a little bit of damage. He should have more max HP than me, and it wouldn't affect his stamina. Now I'm just going to body press. So I think he's +5 defense now. He'll be +6 after I hit this, but that's as high as you can go. As long as this... Oh, if this thing gets Roar... If he has Roar, he would have already used it, right? Our body press is doing a good chunk, though. I think we are out-damaging the leftovers. I think we will win this battle over the long term. The only problem is... Well, if he crits with a Dragon Pulse, it shouldn't kill us. The crit is doing 40, so +3. So without a crit, it probably does like 100. Our body press is doing good chunk, though. We should win this long term. This is going to take us like 10 turns. But I think we can eventually just kill this Archaludon with body press. I have a feeling this is going to take a long time. I might need to like fast forward this in the video. He's gonna Dragon Pulse again. All right, I'm gonna put a little note for myself right now in future me for editing to fast forward to this part. If I skipped over something, guys, you didn't miss anything. I've just been body pressing and he's been Dragon Pulsing over and over. And we've gotten to this point where we have this guy almost dead. So no crits. Okay. We should take out this Archaludon like 8-9 body presses later. And Swalot might literally just win the game here. This is amazing. We might legitimately only use 2 Mons this week. The Zoroark put in a ton of work with the lead, and Swalot's just cleanup. He's got Flapple. Flapple might be able to break us. Actually, this Flapple could be an issue. If this thing's Terra Steel, I can't Clear Smog it. And if it's Ripen, it'll get its Berry at higher HP. I think I have to Pain Split here, because I don't want to proc its Berry at 50% HP if that's the case. It's probably going to go for a Dragon Dance. It does. Can this thing sweep me? This thing could get scary. This could actually get dicey if this thing boosts up enough. So now I need to... This is kind of a 50-50. He's going to Terra on this turn, I think. I'm going to body press for damage guaranteed. Because if he Terra Steals, this is going to end the game right now. We'll win right now if he Terra Steals. But the problem is, like... If he Terra Steals, body press is the play. But if he does any other Terra, then Clear Smog is the play. Because then we get rid of his stat boosts. But if he Dragon Dances again, Terra Steel, and we Clear Smog here... we could legitimately lose, because if he gets boosted enough. So what does he go for? He is going to Terra. I think he probably attacks here, unless it's Terra Dragon. Is that an issue? I don't think we kill with a body press. Outrage, that's a lot of damage. At least he's locked into this move, though. Okay, we do live it, because our defense is crazy high. Body press does a kill? No. And he does have Ripen. What berry is he? Wait, Ripen is the ×2 boost, right? Oh, shit. It's a Lychee Berry. He's now +3 attack. I mean, I just have to body press here. That's not good. Could he sweep me with this? Swalot's gonna go down. This is his last Pokemon, but he's +1 speed, +3 attack. He's faster than every single thing on my team, and he has +3 attack. But he's locked into Outrage. He did not get confused that turn, which means he's locked into Outrage. Machin should live this. He's max physical defense and resisted the dragon type, but it's Terra Dragon +3 outrage. Oh my god, dude. If this thing crits us right now, we might literally lose to a sweep. Legitimately, I think if this thing... I just Earthquake here. There's no other play, because Earthquake kills. Please don't crit. If he crits, I think we lose. Please don't crit. Okay, we wouldn't have lost anyway. That only did half our HP bar. Rocky Helmet's going to do a ton of damage. Does it kill it? Yes, it does. Rocky Helmet gets the kill. Let's go. We didn't even have to attack. That's going to be it, guys. That's going to be the week 5 battle. So we bounced back in a big fashion. We lost to Nova last week. We do end up winning this one. Huge shout out to Rose. GG's to him, man. I think I just had the momentum from the jump. I really don't know how much else he could have done. I think the only thing he really could have done was maybe kept me honest on turn 1 with the Quackle into the Great Tusk, because I can't one-shot with Quackle. But at the same time, like, I totally understand him wanting to make that switch there and not losing a ton of damage on his Great Tusk. So from there, I really don't think there was much he could do. I think I just had the momentum, and I think unless he had like Roar or Dragon Tail, I don't think he could have done much about the Swalot set. But that being said, I know Rose is a great player. I know he's probably bummed because he's having a rough start to the season, but I wish him nothing but the best of luck. I hope he does well in the rest of his matches, and I'm excited to pick up another W. All right, guys, with week 5 being over and done with, I just wanted to go over a couple of things. First and foremost, I just wanted to say a huge shout out to Rose, our opponent this week. I think he played really well. Honestly, there were a couple of things that just went my favor early, and I was able to basically just carry that momentum through the battle. So I don't think there was anything wrong with what he did. I think the Zoroark just being able to get a nasty plot off, and then basically the Swalot being able to set up defensively, there wasn't a whole lot he could do about that. He did mention that in his spread or his set that he was actually supposed to have Roar on his Archaludon, and for some reason that move did not load in, and he meant to check it and forgot to check it before our battle. So honestly, that fight might have been a lot different if he had that move, but fortunately for us, he did not have it, and we ended up picking up the win. That being said, I wanted to basically show this on the screen here for you guys. This is essentially stats on the left side and the standings on the right side. This is something that you guys don't often get to see, the standings of our entire league. And this is something that I plan on putting at the end of my videos each week, just to give you guys a better picture and a little more clarity, or at least the people who are watching this who are not actually part of the league, just so you can understand what's going on. So with that being said, we are still in 4th place, just like we were at the start of this week. However, with a 3-2 record and a +9 differential, we are sitting pretty coming into the final 4 weeks of the regular season. 2 of the teams who started 4-0 this week actually lost, which means we are only 1 game out of 1st place, especially with a good differential. If these top teams lose and we keep going on a winning streak, we could potentially claim one of these top seeds if we can keep that momentum going, but that's going to be a big if, because we got a lot of strong opponents coming up. That being said, I really like where we're at 5 weeks in. I think I could have won a couple of those games that I ended up losing, but I think ultimately got a lot of good learning experiences from those and hoping to carry the good momentum going forward. So taking a look at the Mons on the left side, I have 5 different columns here. The first one is GP, that's games played. I've got a wins column, losses, kills, and deaths. Now obviously kills and deaths really don't tell the whole story, as some Pokemon are not meant to be Pokemon who are claiming a bunch of kills. They're often meant to do different things, and ultimately I wanted to have a win and loss column here to at least show that some of these Mons are putting in work even if they're not claiming the kills. But ultimately, we got 4 Mons here with Machin, Guesswork, Jesus, and Kayuma, all with 4 games played, all with at least 2 wins. 3 kills, 1 death for Machin. He's been a terrific Mon, just honestly for good defensive switch-ins. He's been good at setting up hazards, and honestly has been our only hazard removal up to this point, has done a good job with it. Guesswork, our Zoroark Hisuian. The KDA I don't think really tells a story. 2 kills, 3 deaths, but I think he's had a lot more value than with the 2 kills, 3 deaths really tell, especially this week. He only claimed 1 kill technically, but he chunked 2 Pokemon really hard. He ended up breaking the Terra Shell on the Terrapagos. So honestly, I think he was pretty much the second most important Pokemon this week, even if he only got 1 kill. Jesus LBL, the Dragapult, I have yet to really use him as like a sweeper. I do plan on doing that at some point this season. He's been utilized more as a utility mon, a good defensive pivot. With, you know, I've used him as a light screener. I've used him as basically a way to chip down Pokemon. Ultimately, he's been really good for that. I am going to do some sort of sweeping set at some point, hoping to get the opportunity, but I don't want to force it too hard. I want it to be a week where it actually works out. For the Kayuma, the Quackaball, I think this is a Pokemon who I think, me personally, I could be piloting better. This is a Pokemon that I think has tons of potential, and I have really not tapped that potential yet. But I think there are some, hopefully, you know, a week or two coming down the pipe where I can really put in some work with the Quackaball. One Pokemon who I feel like I have put in a lot of work with, though, is the Greatestness. This guy is 2-1 record, 11 kills. The 1 death is actually incorrect. I believe this guy actually has 2 kills. That's a mistake on my part on the graphic. But this guy is the league kill leader, which is crazy to think. 5 weeks in, 11 kills is the most in the entire league for any one single Pokemon, and we've only brought him to 3 battles. So considering that fact, that is one Pokemon who's shown up really, really well. And ultimately a Pokemon who doesn't have a kill, but has probably been our second most important Pokemon, I think, to a point, is the Mr. Aloha Incineroar. A huge reason that Greatestness has 11 kills is because we've been able to basically pivot that thing in safely with the Mr. Aloha, with Intimidates and Parting Shots, chipping things down. And ultimately, he's been really, really nice for us. Even though he doesn't have a kill yet, I think has been one of the most valuable Pokemon on the team. Kel's the Noivern we obviously added late in the season. Hasn't put in a ton of work yet, but I do think has some really good opportunities coming down the pipe. Heartkos the Swalot this week outperformed my expectations. I thought that this set this week could put in some work, but honestly, it did so incredibly well. And even though it only has 3 kills, it kind of had 4. It doesn't get a credit for the kill where Namorous used Healing Wish and basically suicided in front of it, but basically could have had 4 kills. And honestly, had I clicked Clear Smog in front of the Noivern, I was worried about Terra Steel, so I didn't, but if I did, this thing might have ended up 5-0. So this thing put in a ton of work this week. McCrane, the Uxie, we didn't even get to bring it out this week. I do think it would have been great with the weakness policy set, but I'm looking forward to using it in the future. Meeful, the Umbreon, last week, unfortunately, against Nova, I didn't put in a whole lot of work with it. It was made to basically wall special defense or special attacking mons that week. That was the whole thing that I brought that week specifically, and he didn't bring his special attacker, so it really didn't get a time to shine, but I know it will have an opportunity. And the only Pokemon that I haven't brought a single time yet is Chisei the Bulbasaur. I made a promise at the beginning of the season. I will stand by it. I will bring this guy at least one time during the regular season, hopefully even in the playoffs if we make it. But yeah, this is how it looks so far. So I'm sorry if I got a little rambly here, guys. Let me know down in the comments below if you actually want to see this at the end of the video. I guess for the people that don't want to see it, you can just go ahead and click off the video. But I think it's just kind of fun to show how each individual mon is doing and how we're stacking up in the standings. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in week number 6 when we face off against Padel and the Glasgow Gliscorers. But until then, have a wonderful day.